Hi, how's it going today? Did you have an awesome Monday? I did. I just added my prop up there. See my stethoscope hanging? I just did a few pictures with it with some high heels because that's what I wanted to do. I'm doing some new graphics with high heels and stethoscopes. What do you think about that? Ah! But attention, like, let's get to the point of this little video vlog here today. I wanted to talk to the employees. It's so interesting that I have been, I'm almost afraid to say it. So when I say I'm afraid to say it, I'm just going to say it. I've been, I've written a book, but I wrote a book with a doctor and I never published it because my story changed at the end of this book. And that's why I didn't publish it. So I've been thinking about this new book. And it's so funny. I did a little research today because it's been popping up a lot for me lately that I think I want to write this book for you, medical person, medical employee. Because I don't really think too many doctors watch this. I think it's more the staff. I don't know who's watching. It doesn't matter. But maybe you're in the medical industry and I can really help you with how to navigate through your job. Because what I have found is a lot of really, really tough situations with staff. So I will go in to assess a practice, and I assess a practice by assessing the staff because it's the humans that make up the practice. So I'll go in and I'll spend some time, usually 20 to 30 minutes with each staff member, just asking them 5 or 6 simple questions. Sorry, there's a plane going by. And I have the windows open today because it's glorious here in Tampa Bay, Florida. It has been for the last 3 days. Finally, it's like end of October. It's finally cooling down. Like it's 78 degrees in the house instead of 82. So anyway, the employees are stuck. I feel a lot in a rut, and I'm just always surprised because I find these are intelligent people that maybe I could break it down to each position, right? So a front office person will come in and is usually just overwhelmed but happy to have a job in the medical industry. It might be their first job in the medical industry. And then they might get trained on the job to become a medical assistant, which, if you get some real training by a great doctor, that's really great. But then there's medical assistants that might come into the practice that went to school and are certified, and then they're annoyed by the people that have the on the job training because I've heard that before from staff. And then there's the because there's just not that many nurses in private practice anymore. I came from a pediatric practice that had like all RNs. We only had, I think, 1 or 2 MAs, which is so rare now. RNs, LPNs, they're mostly in hospitals or just bigger organizations that could afford to pay for these high level clinicians. And the medical assistants sometimes turn into the office manager, or the front office person turns into the office manager, or the wife does, or whatever. So there seems to be this real lack of training, right? There's a real lack of training. And there's not a lot of mentorship. And there's not a lot of, maybe I'm going to send you to a course. For example, I just spoke at the Paycom conference. I think that's a great opportunity for an office administrator to learn more and to collaborate with their fellow medical administrators to compare notes and to see what their best practices are. But I'm really, I just probably because this morning I had to do like a summary for a doctor, and I was thinking about all of the notes that I had taken and how many people had worked in these this job in particular for like 11 years or 7 years and 20 years, and they're not happy there. So, like, you can leave. You don't have to stay. Right, Charlie? Charlie Brown is making comments. Yeah, no, they don't have to stay. They can get another job. So I think listen, I have empathy for people that have like a bunch of kids, maybe they're single moms, and maybe they feel like there's no way out. But I can promise you the best way to find out if there is a way out is to just start sending your resume out and going on interviews. Like, seriously, you would be really surprised about how great you feel once you get out there and see what other practices look like and how much they would pay. And I mean, what it even actually physically looks like. There are some medical practice that, oy, 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 like wood paneling. And then there's some practices that have chandeliers hanging, which is sometimes very scary, because that might mean that they're paying more attention to how a practice looks versus investing on like things that matter, like the team and marketing and branding, because nobody's coming in if you don't have any of that. I promise you. So chandeliers scare me, and so does wood paneling, is my point. But I really do think that if you are in the medical industry and you're not happy with where you are, or maybe you're the manager, or maybe you're the doctor, and you're wondering why you have so much turnover, it's usually because there's something wrong in the practice. And I get very sad sometimes when I leave these practices and I see that they have stayed for a long time because they just don't have the self-esteem. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. A lot of the women that I meet with really need to work on their self-esteem. I mean, geez, look at me. I have no makeup on. I'm in my workout clothes and I'm on YouTube. You know, not that like many people are going to view this, but you got to have enough self-esteem to just like say, listen, who am I really living for anyway? Myself, my family, or what people are going to think about me? Who cares what they think? Who cares? Look, I haven't had Botox in forever. I don't care. Oh, but yeah, I've been thinking about you a lot. If you're employees of these medical practices, if you're an office manager, if you are a medical assistant, if you work in the front office, or if you work in billing, what are you doing there if you don't like it? That's what you really need to ask yourself. Stop complaining about the office, because more than likely it's not going to change unless like there's a massive overhaul. I used to say sometimes to one of the doctors that I worked with many years ago that he needs a team. He needs a van and a team of experts to help him. And I still mean that. Like, there's other practices out there. There are other jobs. There are other jobs. And you don't have to stay. If you're not happy, if you're being treated poorly, I mean, if I look down at my notes and I'm looking at people that haven't had a raise or a review in 5 years, what? So then it's not their fault. It's your fault. And you need to take a look at yourself, because like you are the only person that's in charge of your life. And I used to tell my last practice that I managed, don't wait for us to come and ask you for more money or for an extra day off, because we're not going to do that unless you've done something over the top magnificent, or it's the time for your review. If you want something, you got to ask for it, but make sure you got something to back it up. Just go asking for more money if you're a real slacker, you know? Because I've had a lot of people come to me that thought they deserved something, but they had nothing to back it up. The only thing they had to back it up was that they showed up every day, which, you know, sometimes that's not enough. So that's my little 2 cents today. You don't have to stay. You don't have to stay anywhere. You could change industries even. You know that I found out recently, you know that UPS employees and FedEx employees make a lot more money than medical assistants. which, and nurses in some cases. I want to think about that. They're very happy. My husband is a very happy UPS employee, and he makes a lot more than a person that takes care of your health. So that's something to think about. Maybe, you could go into hospitality, you know, or stay in the industry, but like start looking and find something that excites you, like think about where you would want to work and then go for that job. Don't just go putting your resume out there because that's boring and you really have to stand out. That's a whole other video that we'll do another day. I've done many, many about recruiting and hiring, and it's still as bad as it was the last time I did one. Hasn't changed. People applying for jobs when it says clearly it's part-time and they say they need a full-time job in the first 5 seconds of me talking to them. People, you don't have to stay. You don't have to do anything, okay, that you don't want to. So that's it.